All right, so this is a little presentation here. If anyone has any questions while we go, just feel free to pop in. But I'm just going to go through it and we can discuss afterwards. All right, so inner judo and the flipping of negative forces. So I just want to start off with this quote here, which is great to remember that if something is unavoidable, we can always make work out of any activity. And one from Maurice Nicole, um, a longer quote, but pretty valuable. He says, after a time when you can be alone with yourself and at the same time alone with this work and its meanings, you begin to realize that you have no right to be negative and that you have no excuse for it. You see that you have got to find some way out. You may not be able to prevent negative states from starting, but you may be able to stop them. This is one meaning of what is called work on oneself. This can be called living more consciously. All right. Maurice Nicole was actually worked with Carl Jung for a while before joining up with Gurdjieff and Uspensky. All right. So when negativity arises, we can be mechanical and reactive, like these characters down here. And when we are this way, we're basically just leaking energy. And um, instead of doing that and being like these folks, we want to be conscious and responsive instead of mechanical and reactive. And so to do that, we can then ask questions and study the situation, study our feelings, inquire about what's happening, observe what's going on within, taking account, pondering the situation, investigating, and this is becoming active or working on oneself. The first question we can ask is, what is the emotion that we're feeling? Okay, this is a little chart here that gives emotions and kind of where they fit in the emotional spectrum. And so right away we go from a reaction to a questioning and an inquiring of what am I actually feeling? Okay, and this again, this chart is a good reference to help figure that out. Another question we can ask is, where is it felt in the body? A lot of times with these strong emotions, if we do a body scan or we really put our attention and focus on the body, we can feel tension in certain areas. And um, that way it takes you, or we can, having our attention on this tension in the body is much better than projecting anger or negative emotions outward towards other people. Um, Another thing we can do is look at the causes. Um, Here's a quote from Uspensky that I like a lot, where it says, "What is the cause of negative emotions? They are always caused by other people. It's always someone else's fault. This must be stopped." And how common is that to be upset by someone else? Or maybe you're irritated by something that someone else does and not realizing that the cause is within in our inability to deal with the negative emotions that are arising. Also we can ask ourselves, am I to blame for this? And another quote says, if you begin to study psychology, you will find that all causes are in yourself. There can be no causes outside of yourself. And this is a tough revelation because, we don't like to think of ourselves as the cause, and we typically like to blame other people. Um, but to blame ourselves helps us look more deeply into our actions and our thought patterns. Uspensky talks a lot about the importance of attitude and just asking ourselves, what is my attitude towards this situation? Am I able to change my point of view? And I like to call the ability to change points of view or to change attitudes as mental agility. Okay. And it's like we're moving that observation point around. And, Gurdjieff says that only he can be just who is able to put himself in the position of others. And so, can we really have the, the, um, the ability to wear someone else's shoes and see things from their perspective. And we can remember that everyone has different life experience and knowledge, and that's going to affect the way that they act. And from Uspensky, he says, find emotions connected with a certain kind of thinking, with certain points of view. If you acquire new points of view, then after some time, the emotion connected with the old points of view will disappear. Many emotions depend on point of view. So think if we're really upset or angry about something, switch that perspective, see it from a different angle. Don't be, we can't be stuck in certain types of thinking. And we can ask ourselves, are self elements interfering with an objective point of view? This is from Miyamoto Musashi, who says, consider yourself unimportant. And why would we want to consider ourselves unimportant is because a lot of times when we're easily offended and we are easily pulled from our center, it is because we um, sometimes that we feel that we're special and that whatever this person had said to us or did, um, it was, it's like a self-righteous thing. Like, how could this person say that to me? Or how could this person be disrespectful to me? And that's this. Uspensky talks a lot about self-elements and how they are responsible for a lot of our negative reactions, are the feelings of our own self-importance. But we can try to diminish that, and we'll see that it frees us up from a lot of that negativity. And so now we can ask questions like, what action can I take to help resolve this issue or to help make sure that something like this never happens again? And, or we can ask, well, was a weakness or feature exposed? Maybe we were, maybe that feature is that self-importance. And it's the ego that gets very upset if it feels disrespected or is unable to see the perspective or point of view of other people. Did I gain understanding of myself and the world? And that's the whole point of observing, is try to understand ourselves and the world around us. And it's not always understandings can be difficult. It's not always pleasant, but the first step in changing or improving is bringing awareness to what needs to be corrected. How can I grow from this? Uh, and where can I improve? Patience, empathy, understanding, compassion, attention, inquiry, work, the breath. These are much better places to put the focus and attention rather than expressing a negative emotion. And so on the left, we have someone who is doing conscious things. And on the right, the expression of negative emotions is unconscious and um, are taking no steps towards improving themselves or the situation. A lot of times, the negative emotions and expressing them is just complaining, whining, being negative and gets us nowhere. And lastly, from Martin Butler, it said that suffering is the result of unexamined suffering. Examined suffering leads to understanding, and understanding leads to freedom. So shout out to Martin Butler. But yeah, that's it. Pretty much quick presentation. And then how about you can share your thoughts or questions?